Guys, in this one, we've got the D2 quarterback who took over the SEC. Shout out of Year for the video. We're going to be reacting to this one. Hey, if you guys, this is a bit of a new one because it's a bit different from the normal reactions I do. I'm kind of like used to doing just like general reactions, you know, for fans and whatnot. This one's to do with sports. I am, you know, interested in reacting to a lot more sports, anime, just extra shit, you know, just different shit. If you guys want to see me react to sports, anime, even like breaking news, the latest news, what's popping, if you guys want me to react to other stuff, then let me know in it. But hey, let me know, boy, you lot, you know, let's get into this one.
We were introduced to him in week 3 or whatever.
Trinidad Chambliss, I think, yeah, is the guy that they're talking about.
That's what this guy. He's seemingly the smartest guy on the field, the most athletic.
Trinidad, nice,
can
man.
make every single play that
I remember, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm still relatively new to this college football thing. I didn't even know Trinidad came from D2. I did not. I thought he was like a, you know, the casual like recruitment stage from high school straight into, you know, doing years. I thought he took that route. So the fact that I found out he came from the D2 and worked his way up, I just gave him extra ratings for that. Trinidad, nice, man. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I first saw him during the playoffs.
Pat McAfee called him.
I saw his playoff run, Ole Miss's playoff run. I'm like, yo, who is this quarterback?
Stop sounding like a joke.
Even though they lost to Miami, he went crazy in that game.
He was not supposed to take over the SEC.
Bro.
He was not supposed to become a Heisman
candidate. He's got his,
and he definitely was not supposed to be back for another season of college football.
Also,
but before we get to the eligibility ruling, the Lane Kiffin situation, and the reason Ole Miss gets to run this whole thing back, we have to go back to the part that makes this story so ridiculous.
Whoever put him D2 needs to be fired.
Trinidad Chambliss was
Kid's
not
nasty,
a 5-star quarterback.
Trinidad, nice,
he was not the next big thing. He was not some future first round.
I didn't
pick
start
everyone
watching
had
Ole Miss
circled
until the
since high
playoffs.
school. He was
So I
a
haven't been watching a whole lot of Ole
Division
Miss, but from the games I've seen, he's nice.
And now he is walking into another SEC season as one of the most interesting players in the entire country. Chambliss grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and played quarterback at Forest Hills Northern High School. And this is where the story starts to look a lot different than most SEC quarterback stories. Because usually, when a quarterback becomes a Heisman candidate, you can go back and see the signs, the recruiting rankings, the camp clips, the national offers, the early hype. But with Chambliss, that was not really the case. He was a good high school quarterback. As a senior, he threw for more than 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns. That is a solid season. But in the world of college football recruiting, solid does not always mean noticed, especially when you are not the biggest quarterback, especially when you are not playing in one of the biggest recruiting hotbeds, and especially when the major programs have already decided who their guy is going to be. So Chambliss did what a lot of overlooked players have to do. He took the opportunity that was actually there. That opportunity was Ferris State, not Florida State, not Penn State, Ferris State, a Division II powerhouse in Michigan. And that part matters. Because the second a quarterback plays below the Division I level, people start putting limits on him. If he makes a great throw, it is because the defense is slow.
Yeah, Division I, let alone for a team like Ole Miss in the SEC. Because, guys, I think as the SEC, I'm still new to this college football, but I think that's supposed to be like one of the premier conferences. In fact, it probably is the most premier. It's the most prestigious, I would say, conference, I think, in college sports in general, not just football, right? And Ole Miss is one of, like, in football-wise, I don't know about basketball and other sports, but I think in football, they are one of the powerhouses. So, man, for him to make up, not just in D1, to make that jump from DT to D1, but also, like, to a starting role as a starting quarterback, you know, in a powerhouse like Ole Miss, in a prestigious conference like the SEC, like the SEC, is impressive, man.
If he puts up big numbers,
when I found that out, I was like, wow,
like,
damn.
If he wins, it is because he's supposed to win. That is the box small school quarterbacks get put into. And for a while, Chambliss was in that box. He was not the face of college football. He was not on national pregame shows. He was not getting debated by ESPN every Saturday morning. He was just developing, waiting, learning, and slowly becoming a much better quarterback than most people realized. At Ferris State, Chambliss eventually turned himself into one of the most dangerous players in Division II football. And when he finally got his shot, he did not just play well.
That's one thing I realized. He could scramble, you know.
In 2024, he threw for nearly 3,000 yards. He ran for more than 1,000, and he accounted for 51 total touchdowns.
Would you guys put him down as a dual threat?
I don't. That is not just a good small school season.
I still feel like he leans more to the passing side, but he could definitely use his legs.
Wait, how did everyone miss this guy? Ferris State was already one of the best programs in Division II, but Chambliss gave them something different. He gave them a quarterback who could beat you from the pocket, escape when the play broke down, and turn a normal drive into a highlight before the defense even had time to adjust. And after that season, the question became obvious. Could this translate? That is the question every small school star has to answer. Was he great because he was great, or was he great because the level was lower? Chambliss entered the transfer portal, and Ole Miss took the chance. But even then, this was not some clean Hollywood arrival. He was not walking into Oxford as the obvious future of the program. He was not being handed the keys to the offense. He was the former Division II quarterback. Interesting? Yes. Talented? Obviously. But the guy who was about to carry an SEC contender? Not yet.
Powerhouse
Ole Miss
as well.
still
Like,
had Austin Simmons. Lane
he's a door
Kiffin
threat for
still
sure.
had his offense.
He's a door
And
threat, yeah.
Chambliss was
Because I've
still
noticed he
mostly
can
viewed
use
as
his legs.
depth. He had a great story and could
He can most
maybe be a
definitely use
useful
his legs.
piece. Or at least a backup plan. Then the backup plan became the
Hold
entire
on,
season.
that is
Or
mad,
at
you know.
least a backup.
Graduating high school at 16. So in UK times, that's like, okay, so in UK, okay, let me put this down in UK times, yeah. That's like leaving, you know, finishing GCSEs, finishing secondary school, finishing year 11, and then skipping sixth form. So you're skipping sixth form and you're jumping straight into university. And he done 3 years at Ole Miss, graduating at 19. So by this time, a lot of people will be in their second year. They'll be in their sophomore years in college or second year university in the UK, right? But this Austin Simmons guy graduated at that time. That's crazy.
Plan. Then the backup plan became the entire
Damn.
season. At first, Chambliss was still waiting for his real opening. He came to Ole Miss as the former Division II star with a great story, but Austin Simmons was the quarterback expected to lead the offense. And that is what makes the next part so
Bro
important.
did more schoolwork
Because
than
in college
football.
football,
That's bro.
quarterbacks do not always get a perfect
It's
run.
either, yeah. And do you want to know what it is,
Sometimes the
yeah?
opportunity-
I think it's either he must have been insanely talented at football, so they gave him an early scholarship at that age, or he was just bright. He was just bright, like he was just smart. Because I know you can have instances where they could graduate you earlier, but
He comes suddenly.
a couple
Sometimes
like
it
2-3
comes
years
because the
earlier
starter
is a
gets
bit
hurt.
insane.
Sometimes the whole season changes before anyone has time to
It's
prepare.
either
for
one
it.
of the two.
And that is basically what happened.
But that's
Austin
it's
Simmons
still
got
impressive,
injured.
man.
Ole Miss needed Chambliss.
Hella impressive.
And all of a sudden, the former Division II quarterback became the starting quarterback at Ole Miss in the SEC. For a team with real expectations,
To be honest, you could probably do both as well.
that is a
so.
massive jump. And everybody was watching to see
But
if
imagine being
Chambliss could
a
handle it.
prodigy like that, and then
His first
also
big
like
moment
being
came against Arkansas.
that great in the classroom.
Just might win this.
Hey,
And
that's
this is where
impressive.
the story changed. Because Chambliss looked ready. He looked calm. He looked confident. And honestly, he looked like he had been waiting for people to finally see this version of him. He threw the ball well. He ran the ball well. He extended plays. And he finished with over 400 total yards and 3 touchdowns against an SEC defense. That was the first time people really had to ask the question out loud. Maybe this was more than a cool backup story. Maybe Ferris State had built something that bigger programs missed. And maybe everyone else was just late.
Going for the poster.
By the middle of the season, Chambliss had become a national story. The former Division II quarterback was leading one of the best teams in the country. Ole Miss fans were all in, and the national shows were talking about him. And suddenly, the conversation changed from, can he play at this level? To, how far can he take them? And for a player like Chambliss, that shift is everything. Overlooked quarterbacks usually have to prove themselves twice as much. The second they struggle, people go right back to the old label.
Yeah, because
The
bro,
former
again,
D2
like,
quarterback.
like he's even mentioning it here, yeah. From D2 to D1, not just D1, but a powerhouse like Ole Miss in a prestigious conference like the SEC. At quarterback as well, like quarterback. Like this ain't no like linesman, no like safety. No, even safety is a bit calm. Like no linesman, no like cornerback, no like center. Like this is. I'm not trying to disrespect those positions in it, but like we're talking about like quarterback. Like that's the most important position on the football field, probably in all the sports. That's the position a team has to nail down. You know, like that's insane. Like props to him, honestly.
Chambliss
That's
kept
impressive
pushing
as
past
heck.
that. He made the story impossible to ignore. By the end of the season, the numbers were more than good. They were Heisman level. Chambliss threw for 3,937 yards, 22 touchdowns, and he threw only 3 interceptions. Plus he added 527 rushing yards and 8 more touchdowns on the ground. Ole Miss finished 13-2, and Chambliss finished 8th in the Heisman Trophy voting. And suddenly, the former Division II
Fernando won it.
quarterback was being talked about like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And then, right when it looked like
You
the
guys
story
think Jeremiah Love should have won the Heisman? I don't know. Fernando Mendoza. I mean, the Indiana they went undefeated, so.
might be over, college football gave him one more twist. Following an 11-1 start to the season, Lane Kiffin announced he would be leaving to become the head coach at LSU. For Chambliss, it was a little more complicated than just deciding whether he wanted to stay at Ole Miss. This was the coach who helped put him in position to become a national story, and who set up the offense where he had just gone from a former Division II transfer to a top 10 Heisman finisher. So once Kiffin left, it was pretty natural for people to wonder if Chambliss would follow him, test the portal, or move on altogether. That is what made this part of the story so interesting. The football rise was already crazy, but now the business side of the sport was starting to shape what came next. Ole Miss ended up promoting Pete Golding, and that gave Chambliss a real decision to make. He could come back to Oxford, but it would not be the exact same situation he had just succeeded in. The head coach was different, the direction of the program was changing, and the expectations around him were completely different than they had been when he first arrived. But Ole Miss still had a lot to offer. They had the roster, the fan base, and the chance for Chambliss to prove that 2025 was not just
Ole Miss, I think coming into like the upcoming college season, I think they are one of the better squads. Like they do have one of the best squads in the thing, not just in the SEC, in college football in general. I think they are one of the favorites to win their conference, the SEC. But I'm not gonna lie, I think they're one of the favorites, period, in general, to win the whole thing. Like I think they've got decent players, you know, on their roster, and obviously they've got 2 Heisman potential players. I think Trinidad is going to be in the Heisman race, and I also think K1 Lacey is going to be in the Heisman race as well. So it's like when you add that, you know, I mean, yes, the coach is different. Lane Kiffin, he went to LSU. I don't know, maybe that might derail things a bit, but listen, squad-wise, on paper, they've got the ingredients to be like a serious challenger for the whole thing in general, for the college football title.
The perfect one-year run. Staying in Oxford meant he could come back as the guy, with a full season of belief behind him and a much bigger spotlight in front of him. The problem was that even if Chambliss wanted to come back, nobody was completely sure if he was allowed to.
Yeah, I heard he had a legal
his
situation.
timeline looked like it might have already run out. He started college in 2021, redshirted, missed the 2022 season at Ferris State because of respiratory health issues,
you know,
played again after that,
eligibility,
and then eventually transferred to Ole Miss. So when the 2025 season ended, a lot of people looked at the years and assumed he was done. He used all his eligibility, right? Wrong. At least, that was the argument from Chambliss and Ole Miss. They believed his missed 2022 season should qualify for a medical redshirt, which would give him another year. The NCAA did not agree. The main issue was the 2022 season at Ferris State. Chambliss argued that he was not medically able to play because of respiratory issues, and his side believed that should have qualified him for a medical redshirt. The NCAA pushed back and argued that the documentation was not enough. But in February, a Mississippi judge granted him a preliminary injunction, which gave him a path to play
some
in
of you guys watching this,
2026.
you guys might know,
And that
you guys might
changed
know more than
everything
me
for
about
Ole
this.
Miss, because
Probably,
now
but
they were not just
do you
trying
guys
to
think
move
that was a red
forward
shirt
after
worthy?
losing Lane Kiffin. They were
I don't know.
moving
I mean, if he
forward
didn't
with
play
the
a
quarterback
whole
who
lot
had
because
just
of
helped
that,
carry one of the best
because obviously
seasons
like respiratory issues, like probably issues with breathing. I think, you know, that does kind of qualify because there was outrage about the situation. I remember seeing it on the timeline on socials. The whole, you know, his name was on the headlines for this issue, right? About him returning for another year. I think he should. I think that is a valid reason, you know. I don't know. You guys let me know though. Obviously, you guys probably know more than me because, you know, again, I'm still new to the college
school history.
American football.
Reports surfaced that his return could be tied to a massive number, possibly worth more than $6 million. At Ferris State, people wondered if the production would translate. At Ole Miss, people wondered if he could handle the jump.
I don't know how people complain he gets to play another year. That's so cool. I mean, I don't have an issue with it. Me personally, I think he's all right. I don't think it's that big of a deal, you know. I think the only issue I have is people don't want like players, like the elite players in college, you know, to like stay in college for too long. They kind of want to see them like just head straight to the league. Like they want to see folks like Jeremiah Smith, you know, not take extra years in college. You know, they want to see them get promoted and get to the league as soon as possible. I think that might be the only reason I get where it's like we might have a lot of like these guys just staying in college. But I don't think it's that big of a deal with me personally. But that's just my opinion. And like, I think Chambliss, in my opinion, I would have had him come back for another year.
People wondered how long
I think
it
it was
would
valid,
last.
but you know.
Now, there is not really any mystery about whether he belongs. The question is what he does next. For most players, the rise from Division II to the SEC would be the whole story. For Chambliss, it might just be the beginning. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe.
Hey, this was a good video from Ovier, man. Like this was a good video. You have a like, man. Have a Kit Kat, you know. Hey, this was a great video from Ovier, the D2 quarterback who took over the SEC. They're going to be a big season for Trinidad Chambliss. Like I mentioned, he's probably going to be up there in contention for the Heisman. I thought he had an impressive season last season, especially from what I saw in the playoffs. Ole Miss got a good team. K1 Lacey. Obviously, we're going to be hopping on college football after this. I'm excited to get my first win. K1 Lacey on the cover for that game. He's gonna have I think he's good, man. He's good. He's gonna have an amazing season himself. Ole Miss as well, like that. In my opinion, if you ask me, yeah, who do I think wins the college football championship this year? I'm probably gonna go with Ole Miss, man. I think they were unlucky against Miami last year. A very close game, went down to the wire. And I think they come back again this year with a bit more experience. You know, Chambliss' second season in the NCAA. K1 Lacey a bit older. The rest of the guys, you know, I think they do it this year. I think they do. You know, I think they are the best team in college. Yeah, no, 100%. But he's not Jeremiah Smith. Trinidad is nice though. Yeah, nah, of course. But yeah, guys, I'll see you lot in the next one.